So after coming out of the Suicide Squad, I found myself pretty overwhelmed. I mean, this was the second incredible DC movie to come out of 2021, which was nice given the circumstances. Though, saying that, it's hardly like things are going much better these days. But, focusing on more positive things, the Suicide Squad had me invested. It was this incredible blend of seriousness and silliness, and had this whole cast of characters I actually cared about, and some I even grew to strongly dislike, but in the best possible way. Needless to say, I was very much looking forward to see where they were going to take this cast of characters next, and then they announced they were making a spin-off. Peacemaker? I was not excited. John Cena's performance in the Suicide Squad was actually really impressive, like really impressive, but his character was not one of the ones I grew to be invested in the same way I was with Bloodsport for instance, so going in I was definitely apprehensive. Plus there's the whole John Cena thing going on, but that's besides the point. It goes without saying that Peacemaker really caught me off guard, and by the second episode I was completely hooked, and since finishing the show it's kind of occupied my mind ever since. I mean, I've literally sidelined a video I was almost halfway through making just so I could get started on this immediately. So with that, my name is Mingus and I'm going to be explaining why you need to watch this show as soon as remotely possible, so not to worry, this will be spoiler free, so let's just get on with it. So in typical James Gunn fashion, he's managed to infuse his incredible music taste with his cinematic expertise to create this visceral experience. God, I don't think any effort I could have put in would have made that sound any less pretentious, but hey, what I'm trying to say here is that the show looks and sounds amazing. Not once does it feel like it has a TV show's level of production quality, and the writing is just great. The one thing I'd say does deserve some valid criticism would be its use of humour, but more on that a little bit later. So to break the story down in a non-spoiler fashion, the show basically covers a wide variety of some pretty serious topics ranging from terrible father-son relationships, the nature of killing, as well as touching on some pretty progressive topics in a way that doesn't feel intrusive in the slightest. And hang on, wait, I've not even mentioned the bloody eagle yet. His name is Eagly, and he's actually awesome. I'm not going to show too much, but trust me, you are honestly going to love him. I probably should have just opened with the eagle to be honest, but I'm serious, he's actually now my favourite bird in fiction. I'm sorry Roadrunner, but I've moved on. Now, this show continues to follow the trend of introducing characters that you can get invested in, and I would actually argue that this show does a much better job than the movie. See, these characters actually grew on me in a surprising way, even the ones I wasn't too sure on initially, and the villains were honestly spot on. There's this really good blend of humour and seriousness in a way that doesn't stop you from taking them seriously, and there's some pretty understandable motivations, for some of them. And hey, who doesn't love killing Nazis? Now, the show also has a really good group dynamic with this great variety of cast members. Even if you don't like them initially, I can pretty much guarantee that they will all eventually grow on you. But in fact, growth is a thing that this show does a really good job of portraying in a lot of ways that I'm unable to go into. But for me, I just find it incredible how these characters can be initially portrayed in such a way that gives off this almost false first impression, while still not making them seem out of character upon a rewatch. But that's a whole other thing, this show is really rewatchable. Granted, I probably wouldn't rewatch it as quickly as I did, but there's a lot of stuff I actually failed to catch on the first watch. Though, I wouldn't exactly go in expecting this to be fully layered in intricate detail, otherwise you wouldn't be pleasantly surprised to find that there are more hidden details than you'd think, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should go looking. I'd say you should just enjoy the show. You're probably wondering how a show is able to balance all of that and still give it a good conclusion, and I haven't even mentioned the whole alien invasion plotline, but I'm trying to keep this as spoiler free as possible, but trust me, it's all done incredibly well. I just wish it could have gone easy on the humour at times, but that's my only real criticism. I mean, there's multiple emotional moments that definitely could have gone without an injection of humour, and there's one scene in particular that does go on just a little bit too long, but you know, these are all very minimal criticisms of what's truly a piece of top tier television. If they're able just to rein in the humour just a little bit, I actually have no doubt that this show could even exceed The Boys in terms of quality and popularity. I guess that's what I love about not only this show, but this new age of superhero shows that are able to tackle these gritty and introspective topics in a way that's actually engaging. You know, going back to the introspective thing, John Cena is able to deliver this really strong performance with someone who's been trained to kill ever since he was a literal child, and the real life implications that might actually have on someone. I wish I could include more actual clips from the show, but copyright is just a bitch and a half. You'll just have to take my recommendation. My best advice to you would be that if you're not keen on the first episode, you definitely need to try the second. I was in the exact same boat. For some reason, the humour just wasn't landing on me and I wasn't entirely sure of what I thought about it, but by the time I finished that second episode, I was not stopping anytime soon, and with any luck it would be the same for you too. So, that's my piece. Hopefully that's convinced you to actually check it out, and if it hasn't, tell me why. I'd be really interested to find out. I'm still not entirely sure on how to review shows yet. I'm still kind of working on it. I didn't even have much of a plan for this video in the same way that I had one for the others. This one's been a lot more off the dome, but that kind of establishes my point more. I've normally got to spend a lot of time collecting my thoughts and doing a lot of mental gymnastics in order to convince myself that something is good, whereas this was just solid. If you have seen Peacemaker, let me know if I should make a spoiler video. This was kind of the risk-free alternative, but I'm still at a stage where you guys can have a big impact on the content I make, so please do let me know. But until then, I'm off. I've been Mingus, and watch Peacemaker. Take it easy.